Oh my gosh! German vegan cuisine?
Oh my gosh.
Some of you who are less familiar with modern day vegan cuisine may be thinking, isn't that an oxymoron? But no, it's not, because anything could be veganized. Currently in Germany, 40% of people range from reducing their meat intake to being fully vegan. The reasons range from environmental, health reasons, ethical reasons, and more, or all of the above. The vegan German meal in this video includes beer bread, we got some German cucumber salad, aka Gurkensalat, and we got some vegan sausages, aka Thoringer Brat, and we also have some German cabbage, aka Rotkraut. I hope you enjoy this meal. Let me know how you make out with it. This is the delicious German meal we're going to be making today. Here we're adding 3 cups of flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 cup of sugar, our proved yeast mixture with some plant-based milk, a 1/4 cup of plant-based milk, and a can of beer minus a few sips that Shimmy took. And we'll mix it up and knead it. And I'm adding a tablespoon of the avocado oil. Here I'm covering it and I had it rising overnight. Now the next day, we preheated our oven to 350. Here I'm brushing some oil on our loaf pan. And we're gonna pop our dough in. We're just gonna keep it rustic here. And it goes into the oven and it will be there for an hour. I'm gonna slice up our cucumber. We're not gonna be fussy, we're gonna leave the seeds in for this one. We're just gonna chop up some dill. And we have some chives here we're gonna chop up. The recipe calls for dehydrated onion. It gives it a different flavor. We're just gonna sprinkle some on. That should be enough. We're gonna use a neutral flavored oil. We'll pour some in. Just the amount you need to coat the cucumbers. And then we're going to put in our apple cider vinegar. And we're going to add some sugar to dissolve it in. And we'll just add some black pepper. And we'll add some salt. Stir it up. Make sure we can get all the crystals dissolved here. Our dressing is dissolved, so we're ready to pour it on. We'll give it a mix. You may have to separate a few of the cucumbers to ensure they all get coated. And so with this Gurkensalat, it's best to let it sit in the dressing for a bit. We're going to cover it and put it in the fridge because we want it to soak it all up. It's almost like pickles, not quite, but you know. Here I'm weighing the bowl that we're going to put our Vital Wheat gluten flour in. We want to arrive at 350 grams of Vital Wheat gluten flour. So we'll subtract the weight of the bowl from the total weight here. Now over to our big bowl. We'll pour in our Vital Wheat gluten flour. We're using our Bob's Red Mill chickpea flour, aka garbanzo bean flour. We'll want 3 tablespoons. And for our nutritional yeast flakes, we'll want 4 tablespoons. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of ground white pepper, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and half a teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of caraway seeds and 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. We're going to open this can of beans, rinse them, and pulse them up in a processor. Here we're going to chop up some lemon zest as much as we can. We want about 2 teaspoons. Now I'm just putting the black bean mixture into a bowl and I'm adding our lemon zest. Here I'm adding 3 tablespoons of warmed up coconut oil. And I'm adding a teaspoon of liquid smoke. And we want 200 milliliters of the plant-based milk. And 150 milliliters of water. I'm just using the same measuring cup. Don't worry about the residue. Mixing time. We're going to want to knead our seitan dough for 5 minutes. And we'll let it rest for 10 minutes. I'm preheating the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for our veggie sausages. So we're just going to cut them up into pieces and make the sausages out of them. First we'll cut it in half. Don't worry if you lose some of the beans, it's all good. We're going to want to wrap each individual veggie sausage in parchment paper and we'll twist the ends. To top it off, we're also wrapping them in foil and twisting the ends. We want to make sure they're sealed as much as possible before they go in the oven. Here I'm putting the veggie sausages on the baking sheet and I'll pop them in the oven. Our veggie sausages will be in the oven for about 25 minutes. We're going to flip them halfway through so that they cook more evenly. Now on to our German cabbage recipe. I'm thinly slicing the onions. And mincing 4 cloves of garlic. I've washed the purple cabbage, now I'm thinly slicing it. Now I'm cutting the green apple into sticks. Our veggie sausages have been taken out of the oven now, and we have a large pan ready for our cabbage recipe. I'm adding 3 tablespoons of our vegan butter. Now I'm adding in our onion and garlic. And we'll add our purple cabbage to the mix. I'm adding the green apple. I'll give it a nice stir. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of the apple cider vinegar. And I'm just covering it and cooking it for 5 minutes or so. I'm adding 4 cloves. Now it's time to add some more flavors. I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Coat it with some liquid smoke. And I'm adding about a tablespoon of maple syrup. Here I'm dusting it with some cayenne. And I'm adding some salt. We'll give it a nice mix here. Now it's time to fry up our Thüringer our veggie sausages. So I've added some avocado oil in our pan. It's on medium heat. And I'm just adding 2 for now. The rest we can cook as we need. I'll just put those ones in the fridge. I didn't have Dijon, so I'm just opting for the horseradish instead, and of course some ketchup. And here you have it, our amazing vegan German meal. Just gonna do a quick taste test. Need to get the show on the road here. Here's our vegan sausage. Beer bread. Bon appetit! Remember to like and subscribe. Comment below, let me know if you try out this recipe. In the year 1516, Reinheitsgebot, the beer purity law, came about. It mandated that only hops, barley, yeast, and water were allowed to make beer. This original law was in place until 1987, and it's the oldest standing law regulating food quality. In 1987, it was the French brewers that brought this case forward to change the original law. This mainly concerned imported beers, so that is pretty much why the German brewers continued the old way and following the old law. Greece's version of Reinheitsgebot was also struck down at the same time.